Imagine having to work overtime every single week to be able to make ends meet for your family and provide food for your table. Sadly, this is a strong reality for millions of Americans across the United States. A minimum wage in Kentucky is $7.25. Working 40 hours a week for 52 weeks in a work year, you'd only be making around $15,000 per year. $15,000 is not nearly enough to be able to support a family. As a human, you're expected to pay healthcare, insurance, rent, utilities, while that $15,000 won't be enough to even meet half of those requirements. With raising the minimum wage, you'd be improving the workplace morale, you'd help Americans afford housing, and get more workers into the system. For morale, being paid more will have workers improve their outlook on their job. Knowing worth as a worker, it is important that you're being paid enough, and it impacts your view on what your job is. Businesses thrive off of the people. People are what gets the product out there to the community, and no workers means no movement of product. With low esteem workers comes a consequence. According to the Gallup organization, it estimates that there are 22 million unenthusiastic employees in America, costing the economy up to $360 billion. This deficit is caused in lost productivity from absenteeism, mental illness, and other problems that come when employees are unhappy at work. Having a positive workplace mentality is key when keeping up with a company's quotas and standards, as workers' mental state is a liability to a company. The loss of money impacts companies heavily, as no workers means no output. Raising the minimum wage will help improve the workplace enthusiasm and cause that deficit to go down and increase the profit margins for the company. Raising the minimum wage will also impact the quality of life of the workers of America. Raising the minimum wage involves a lot of factors in improving the quality of life. Looking at the housing expenses from 2001 to 2017, according to the Center of Budget on Policy's priorities, it shows that median rent in the United States has increased over 13% since 2001, while including utilities. However, since 2001, our median household income has not changed at all. There is a significant disparity in the amount of money that is needed to require housing that we aren't meeting with how much we're making, causing millions of Americans to come into debt. Affordability is crucial for many people, especially the normal average person. And quality of home is expensive, which many cannot afford. Raising the minimum wage will help Americans be able to afford the housing that they need and give them the roof they need to be able to survive. Raising the minimum wage will also help put more workers into the system. What happens is that when workers are getting paid by the government off of unemployment and things like the stimulus checks from COVID, they are more unwilling to be able to work when they can just get the same amount of pay from the government sitting at their home. Joseph Semprovivo, a small business owner in Rhode Island, started hiring for his local company in Florida. Now, the problem with this is that they were informed that they would be working 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday. Now, out of the 3 people that applied for his job listing, one was already making $15 an hour due to the unemployment checks that they were getting from the government. And the $22 an hour listing from the job was just not enough for that worker. And so he decided to not go for that job. People living off of unemployment is hurting the workforce in America, as we do not have people working for the jobs that are essential to keep us running. Over 6 million Americans are living off of unemployment, and this might be needed, and improving the minimum wage is needed in giving those 6 million Americans quality jobs that will outstand the unemployment checks that they get from the government. Now, an issue that many have is that raising the minimum wage will cause goods and the price of goods and products to rise. Most workers believe that improving the minimum wage will cause inflation. However, an increase in minimum wage in main cities like Seattle and Washington have is shown to not have any raise in goods when improving the minimum wage to $15 an hour. An economics professor named Peter Kelly from the University of Washington did a study about the price of goods in Seattle after raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. It states that most Seattle employers surveyed the University of Washington-led study in 2015 that they expected to raise prices on goods and services to compensate for the city's raise to $15 an hour. But after a year of the law's April 2015 implementation, it has shown that there was no raise in the prices of goods. After the Washington changed their minimum wage, the price of the goods had not changed. So the inflation was not nearly as impactful as the people and workers were not expecting. This is a relevant example in our own country, as it shows a specific city, a large city, not having any impacts of inflation after raising their minimum wage. In conclusion, improving workplace mentality, improving quality of life, and helping business owners acquire more loyal workers is important for the workforce in our America, and can be improved heavily by increasing the minimum wage. Improving those conditions of the businesses incentivizes the worker to work more and work better for their company, as workers are the means of profit. Getting paid more leaves the worker with more money coming home, so they're able to afford things like heat and electricity, which are needed for our day and age. Prices have increased over the last 20 years, but workers aren't getting paid reflecting that. And so what is happening is it's creating more of a disparity in the wealth and causing millions of Americans to not be able to afford products that are coming out nowadays. Fallacies like the minimum wage will cause the price of goods to rise is also proven to not be right, as as main cities in our America have already improved their minimum wage and has shown no rise in goods. Overall, looking at minimum wage, it will help. It should be definitely something that we should fight for as workers in our country and fight for having more wealth in America. Now, I have this infographic for you guys to take home from the Kentucky Center of Economics Policies. It shows about the city in Lexington, about the minimum wage and how improving it would help everyone. I'm gonna pass it along. It shows how improving the minimum wage will benefit minority groups in the workforce like women, and how many workers are being affected by the minimum wage. Yep, and thank you for your guys' time. I appreciate all of you.